Normally when we do these podcasts, we don't have a need to preface them because they're fairly self-explanatory. We sit down with the country's best powerlifters, allied health professionals, anyone that's relevant to the sport. On this occasion, however, there are extreme circumstances. Josh Tait is a very good friend. He's an excellent athlete, fantastic bench presser, and one of the best coaches in the country. Unfortunately, 2 weeks prior to recording the podcast, Josh and his family lost Josh's sister Madeline to AML, acute myeloid leukemia. It was very aggressive and she was taken very suddenly. This was obviously devastating to the family, and because of this, obviously Josh was shaken. This podcast was recorded only 2 days after Maddie's funeral, so there are parts in this podcast that become quite raw. Now, we asked Josh after filming if he wanted those parts edited out, and he requested that we leave them in, so they are left in. At OzPower, we do receive messages, we receive emails, and we receive comments on our videos. We ask that you would be respectful of the fact that Josh has lost his sister and the family are still grieving, so please just keep that in mind if you are going to message us. Also, my deepest gratitude to Josh for continuing to do this and actually sitting with us and doing the podcast and recording the bench tutorial that we did so soon after the loss of Maddie. We really appreciate it, Josh. This is dedicated to Madeline's memory.
Let the ocean take me!
Hello and welcome to episode 8 of the OzPower podcast. I'm James, I'm Pat here, and today I'm calling it Australia's best raw bencher. Pound for pound, whoever I look at it, I'm throwing it out there. Josh Tait, welcome on board, mate.
Thank you.
Great, good to have you on board.
Yeah.
Been a big day for you, hasn't it? Up at 6 o'clock training shitload of clients and...
Yeah, I think it was like about 5:15. My little daughter woke me up.
Great.
6 alarms to get out of bed and dust up with the missus before I left.
Then ran us through a bit of a session which we'll put on the page as well.
Absolutely.
Good bench tutorial coming with Josh too.
Yep.
So mate, the way we start with all the guests, just want a bit of background and a bit of a bio on how you got into the sport. And I know you've got a background in bodybuilding as well.
Yep.
So if we could cover that, and I suppose even the transition from bodybuilding into powerlifting.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll just right from the start. So it was probably around 2008 when I started to take training a little bit more seriously, and then I was like, I want to do a bodybuilding show. You know, I'd spent enough time in the gym, like playing rugby, and then rehabbing my knee from two ACL reconstructions. So first bodybuilding comp was in 2009. Did all right. Won the INBA novice Queensland show, then went to the Australian titles and came second in Australia for that. Competed again 2010, won the intermediate Queensland title, then had a few years off, didn't really want to compete, just wanted to train and get strong, and then competed again 2013 with NABA.
So what weights were these?
2009, 89 kilos on stage. 2010, 90 kilos on stage, and then 2013, 100 kilos on stage. a little bit leaner. So then around that time, about 2013, when I did the NABA bodybuilding show, I was like, I just felt like I wanted to get stronger. So I started taking my training even more seriously leading into NABA, and that's when all of a sudden I discovered I could bench pretty well. So I think in training, like I benched 220, but came off the bench, and then found out that the Australian bench press record in the 125s was only 222 and a half. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh yeah, I might be able to do this. Messaged Scotty from PTC at the time.
Yep.
I said, I want to do a bench press competition because the state titles were coming up, and what do I need to do? So I went in, had a session with him. He told me about all the commands.
Yep.
I didn't listen because know, I was a bodybuilder.
You just benching?
Yeah, just benching.
Yep.
We have a bit of a running joke every time Scott explains bench press commands in all the competitions. He always points and laughs at me because for the first 3 competitions, I think I missed all my openers because I either missed the press call, missed the rack call, or missed the start call. So I just wanted that first one over and done with.
Yeah.
2013, first bench competition. Then I did Spring Cup just before NABBA. Did NABBA. Went I'm over bodybuilding. I never want to do this shit again.
Yeah.
And then powerlifting since 2014.
Cool. How long did it take you to do a 3-lift comp, given that was bench only?
So Spring Cup was I did Buster Nut in June or July. I think I squatted 250, walked out, went to squat 260, but it was the first time I had someone else wrap my knees. Couldn't actually sit down onto it. That happened both times. I think I benched 205 in that comp and then pulled 272. So I think it was a 755 total or something like that for my. No, 727 for Buster Nut and then 755 for Spring Cup.
Yeah. So what was the attraction initially to bodybuilding? Because obviously you've been weight training for rugby.
Yeah.
So the obvious progression from that would be straight to powerlifting.
Yeah.
Because it was a performance aspect.
Yeah.
So why bodybuilding?
Because I was turning into a massive pisshead.
Right.
Every single weekend. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Right.
On the piss.
Okay.
So after football finished, I just kept partying and kept drinking and didn't really take my rehab seriously the first knee reconstruction. Took it a little bit more serious the second time round, but then just wanted to party.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, I always had an interest in weight training. Mm-hmm. My old boy got me into it. And then, I just wanted to sort of clean up my life a little bit. So that's why I went into bodybuilding.
So rugby was a big part of your life growing up?
Yeah, well, I started, I think, in about grade 11. So I wasn't allowed to play contact sports. Mum wouldn't let me play contact sports, but I
You're
was
pretty fragile.
No, yeah. But I was angry. I was a pissed off teenager. So Grandma and my dad ended up talking and going, well, if he wants to play, let him play. And that way he can bash people and get away with it legally, He won't get in trouble for it. Unless I take it too far. Right. And then I spend time on the sidelines. So
how far did you get with the rugby?
End of the first season, I was in a development squad, got contracted with East and Cronulla in their development team. Played the following year just in junior A's, and then after school finished, started playing Colts. And then played Colts Rugby Union at the same time.
Yep.
Which the league team didn't know about, and the union guys knew about it. So I was having a chat to a few of their development teams as well about progressing rugby a little bit further, and was having a good start to the season. And then 7th game in, we ran a unders play in the first half, ran over the top of a few blokes, scored. Then the coach roasted me at half time, wanted me to do more work. I was like, all right, cool. Ran the same play, but tried to sidestep and ended up tearing my ACL. I thought it was just pop kneecap.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. Yeah. So that was 2 weeks actually before the grand final. So I don't think I've actually ever won a grand final.
Okay. Did the team win?
Yeah, team won.
Yeah.
And I was sitting on the sideline.
Wow.
So that's the first of 2, full recap.
First of 2 full reconstructions. Rushed the return back to footy. Didn't do the rehab properly. I think it was the 6th or 7th game in. I changed clubs, went over to Souths. Floated between 3rds and 2nds because of the torn knee and come back from injury. I was trying to get my A spot in the top side again, and we put a kick through. I tried to smash the fullback. He sidestepped me. My knee went one way and I went the other way. Shit, gone again.
Shit. Yeah.
So I was like, all right, that's enough. That's enough football then.
Yeah. So the second one you were done, you just went, no, that's it?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. I had enough then. It was just once you tear your ACL, man, it's I don't think you're the same player again. Because you've got to change direction, you've got to sidestep, you've got to run, you've got to stop.
Yeah.
Once it's gone, I don't think you're the same player again.
Yeah.
So even with the top level players, you know, they'll come back, but they're not the same player that they were before, you know.
Yeah.
So
I know you and I have spoken about this a little bit, just like over messaging and stuff like that. Have you spoken to any football players that have done like stem cell injections and stuff for knee recos or knee repair?
yeah, a couple of them have recommended like PRP treatments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But as my newest surgeon has said, I literally have the worst knee he's ever seen.
Right.
And that's and he's got a wide variety of patients,
Injuries, yeah.
from geriatrics to you know, guys who have just torn their ACL as well. So
Worst injury or worst like structurally knee? Like, did he look at it and say it's going to happen eventually? Kind of, you know what I mean? Like, was your knee prone to that injury, or did you mean the injury itself was the worst you ever seen?
it's the worst knee he's actually seen. So my first knee surgeon said to me, the way your femoral head has impacted onto the tibia, so top bone hit the bottom bone, causing massive scarring.
Yeah.
He said by the time you're 35, you'll probably need a knee replacement because of how much damage you did the first time. Second time, he was a bit like, you've just torn the biggest graft I've ever put in someone's knee.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that seems all right. Hey.
Keep going this story.
Then obviously I've had 2 meniscus repairs as well.
Yep. Unrelated, so they were separate injuries.
Yeah, separate injuries, and they've only happened in the last 2 years as well.
Shit.
So I had about a period of from 2005 to 2016 with no knee injuries, no knee surgeries.
Yep.
And then it was start of 2016, then the start of 2017.
Shit. All right, so the meniscus tear's on the same leg?
Yeah, same leg. All 4 operations have been on the same knee, which is my left.
You were in there, what was it, a couple of months ago that you were in there for a clean-up as well?
Yeah. So
and that was another meniscus repair as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, so that was me walking down a set of stairs, not paying attention, stacked it, tore the meniscus again.
Okay.
Booked in for surgery, I think that was. So I saw my surgeon in April, and I think I was getting operated on in May. So.
Shit. Okay, how's that healing?
Yeah, it feels good. You know, I'm back squatting 185 kilos. I was having a bit of a bludge post-op.
Yep.
But yeah, now back squatting.
Cool.
Swelling isn't as bad this time. Everything seems to, you know, it's as good as my knee's ever going to get.
Yeah, cool.
So it'll just be, how do we manage any sort of issues that pop up during my next competition prep?
Yep.
So
Thanks, mate.
the surgeon said he'll use
Thirsty?
A little bit.
he'll use cortisone sparingly this time. We'll drain it a few times in the prep, but we've sort of got a gentleman's agreement that there'll be no unnecessary weight training on it until October-ish, or August, September.
Just after big dogs.
Yeah, around big dogs.
£600.
Around big dogs. After big dogs is when I'll start taking it a little bit more seriously.
Yeah, okay. So in the meantime, what's focus?
Just actually trying to get back to training properly again. So obviously you boys both know that my sister passed away last week. So that's been because she got sick pretty quick this time. So once that happened, I sort of just put training on the back burner.
Yep.
So it's probably been about 3 weeks of just, you know, dealing with that stuff going on.
Yep.
I'll try and get a couple of sessions in because I know she'd be up me if I was bludging. So she always had been, because she's always like, "You're a really good bencher." She's like, "I wish I could bench like you." I'm like, you know, I'm alright, but I go okay. I can hold my own. But yeah, so once everything starts settled down, I can start getting some momentum. Then I'll put more energy and more focus into prepping for the big dogs bench.
Cool. So you're in the Big Dogs 2 bench only?
Yep.
So Pro Raw 9, was Pro Raw 9 this year at the Arnold, wasn't it?
Yep.
You set the Australian record.
For about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yep.
But at 125?
Yeah, in the 125 class, yeah.
Yeah, cool. So you benched 257.5?
Yep.
Cool. So now you've got a solid block where Doc sort of said to you, nothing too unrealistic on the knee and what have you. You've got this window of how many months? We've got 3 months to go.
Yeah.
Where you can really focus on the bench.
Yeah, 13 or 14 weeks.
Yeah. I know you've got an end goal in sight for Big Dogs and what you like to hit, and you're under no obligation to announce it here.
Yeah.
But
Well, it's a 600-pound buy-in, so
Yeah.
we know it's in that ballpark.
Yeah, we know it's going to be floating around there because, you know, I don't have a straight squat bar on my back. I'll use the Duffalo bar. I wanted to use the straight bar last week with training, or was it this week? No, it was this week, just to see how my elbow was feeling. It's a bit niggly, so I'll stick with the Duffalo bar for the next few months, just to keep my shoulder and elbow in a good position to be able to facilitate that sort of bench progress.
Mm-hmm.
And it always helps when you're not really squatting to bench anyway.
Yeah.
So
this is the first time, apart from that initial comp, where you've had a block where you can just go, I'm focusing on bench only. It's not a throwing lift comp.
yeah, pretty much. Like last year when I tore the meniscus and had to have time off, I was benching, and that's when I think my bench made the biggest improvement across all my training blocks, because I wasn't really squatting. But then I think I'd fine-tuned how I responded to training in order to push it to that next sort of bracket, and then repeated it for push-pull. Did well at push-pull with my bench, ran it again for Pro Raw, and bettered my bench at Pro Raw.
Yeah.
So
how do you program your bench?
What I try and do is I try and keep it around sort of that 85% of a projected max.
Yeah.
So, well, like Pro Raw, I programmed off a 245 kilo bench, and that was even after benching 252 at push pull.
Yep.
Push pull, I programmed off 240.
Yeah.
You know, so I pull it down, but then I know leading into the comp that I'll drop my squats out. I know that I'll drop arm work out, and that my bench will continue up.
Yeah.
If I can just have a bit of fun with it.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of triples, but in the early stages, I switch it around a little bit. So it'll either be 5.3s or 3.5s at somewhere around 80%. So always anywhere from 180 to 200 kilos. So what I'm trying to do now is 180 kilos isn't like that hard for me anymore.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to do is now shift it up to 200 kilos. So that 200 is now the new 180. So that when I get closer to Big Dogs, like I'll be able to bench. You know, I'm planning to bench 200 for 8 reps.
Yeah.
This block, 220 for 5.
Yeah.
They're the goals that I want to hit within the next 13 weeks.
Right.
Because if I can bench 220 for 5, 230 for a triple, I know I should be more capable of 260 plus.
Yeah.
Like, so.
How long are your cycles? So you 4 weeks, like you mentioned before, too. So you like, as in every 4 weeks you revisit the previous 4-week block to plan the next 4 weeks?
Yeah, so I've got a master, I run a master template, master program for myself and my clients, and every 4 weeks I basically change the accessory work around so that staying fresh and staying interested in training. Depending how that 4-week block went, it might finish with some heavy doubles or a deload, depending on where it is on the wave, to then adjust the bench max upwards. So I think my first block when I started programming for Big Dogs was about 235. So I think the block that I'm programming off now is about 245 or 247. So still way below, like 10 kilos below what I do, but training weights are pretty comfortable. You know, so long as I'm switching on and actually paying attention to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So
Keep moving forward.
yeah. And that way, like, if you're running a 12-week training program and it's the same shit, like, you're going to get bored and you're not going to want to train. So that's why I like to change my accessory work around and everyone else's accessory work so they don't get complacent and comfortable.
Yeah.
When you say changing the accessory work, is it purely the exercises that you're selecting? So you've still got that almost templated feel of, okay, on a bench day, I also want to train the rear delts, or I want to train lats as well.
Yeah.
But instead of doing cable rows today, we're going to do bent rows, or instead of doing,
Yeah, 100%. So, like, right now, like, today's bench session was, you bench. I was supposed to do the lat pull downs, but didn't want to. Rear delts, bis and tris. Day one of the bench programming is obviously bench. Then I do prone rows, and then another bi and tri exercise.
Cool.
So right now there's not too much work in there. It's mostly focusing on my main bench and then doing some AMRAP stuff and then bis and tris.
Cool. You mentioned before, actually, and I think it's in that other video that we spoke about bicep work for bench. It's so often that you hear, bicep, like the push sort of thing.
Yeah. Everyone always debates it. They're like, you've got one school that are like, it's unnecessary to build a big bench with big arms, but then you got the other side who are like, well, look at all the big benches that have big arms. Yeah. It's like, well, what comes first? Yeah. I always look at it like, well, the biceps roll is a flexor, so train it, because when you bring that bar down, what's your bicep doing? It's in a hammer curl position. So if you're not training the bicep, you're going to become relatively unstable under the load, particularly the way I bench. So when I look at the way people bench, I look at their clavicle width, how wide they actually are. So I've got narrow clavicles, so it makes no sense to me to have a wide grip, because then that means my base is unstable. So if I pull my grip in closer, having a short humerus as well means I can keep it a lot tighter, and then it just means I've got to train my arms.
Yeah. Do you think the lack of bicep work comes from mainly like geared lifting, where guys are wearing bench shirts and their arms are a little bit more supported than raw lifting, where you really are reliant on the muscle for the stability?
Yeah, I think equip lifting has had an impact on
training methods.
Yeah, training methods, but then I also think it's powerlifting in general.
Yeah.
They're like, what do you need to train your arms for? Yeah. It's like, well, my background is bodybuilding. Yeah. You want a balanced physique. Balanced physique will equal, I believe, a strength increase. You know what I mean? Like, if you've got no lagging body parts, then you shouldn't have any lagging areas. Yeah. Yeah. That's how I look at it. Yeah. I look at it. If you want to improve your strength, you need a complete physique. You can't, you're not going to be able to bench big with shit arms. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's how I look at it. Yeah. Or a shit back.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes perfect sense.
So just going back to what we were talking about earlier, so we'll put some photos up as well, because you showed us some cool Instagram pictures of both bodybuilding days as well. So we're gonna out you and throw all those up. You get into powerlifting. I don't think we've touched. So what's your best total?
912 at pro roll. 912 and a half.
Yep. At what body weight?
121.9, I think it was.
Okay. What's your best cop squat? Whether it was involved in that total or not?
Yeah, pro roll. 325.
And best pull?
330 pro roll.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
So I think pro roll was like a 40 kilo total PR. Yeah. So pro roll 6, I totaled 970, and came fourth by 2.5 kilos. And then Nationals 2015 was 872.5, so a 2.5 kilo increase in less than 12 months.
Yeah.
So that was a wasted training cycle. Came second by 2.5, and then had a bad run of injuries and niggles and that sort of stuff, and life changes and that sort of stuff. So I sat out until I felt ready to go again. Dropped a bomb.
Yeah. So how do you normally pick your openers?
I'm a percentage-based guy.
Yeah.
So I train based on what I've done, what I think I can do, and pick some percentages based on that.
Yeah.
So generally, like, my opener will be about 88% of what I project that I can do.
Right.
So I went into Pro Raw going, I want a 900 kilo total, and this is how I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
So I thought I need a 325. So I don't think I've opened at a comp under 300 kilo squat since probably States 2014.
Okay.
Or no, it would have been Nationals 2014.
Yeah.
So I think it was like a 295 or something like that.
Yeah. So what did you open with at Pro Raw?
300. Missed it.
And then but missed it because you stumbled.
Stumbled, yeah.
So you just lost balance.
Yeah.
What was your second?
310.
Right. And then
325.
325. So
Yeah.
pretty small jumps.
Yeah. So Pro Raw was a little bit different because I was coming back from knee surgery.
Yeah.
At Spring Cup last year, I squatted in sleeves, and that was just to test my knee, see how it would fare up. I squatted 230 in sleeves. It was like, pretty shit squat, but like it was fast, but by my standards it was pretty ordinary. You know what I mean? Like,
Technically, you mean?
no, technically it was a good looking squat. It was just, it just wasn't heavy.
Yeah.
I only wanted to squat 180 kilos in the comp, but everyone's like, mate, you squat 320 kilos, like, don't take the piss. But like, for me, I just wanted to be able to squat over 300 kilos again after this knee operation. So that was my first goal.
Yeah.
So my training block for the first, I think, 8 weeks when I decided to commit to Pro Raw 9 was based on a 300 kilo squat. Then once I was like, all right, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to squat 300 pretty comfortably, I shifted it up to 315, and that's where I kept it at. So I don't overreach in training.
Yeah.
So I keep everything sort of sub-max, like I don't try and PR in training. I don't see the point. It's not important to PR in training.
Yeah. Yeah.
So even like if I do Pro Raw 10 next year, like the most I'll probably want to squat in training will be maybe 300 to 310, something like that.
Yeah.
Or maybe 315 because I'm planning 335-ish, 10 kilo increase, which is more than doable. Like even at Pro Raw, there was probably another 5 kilos in my squat.
Yeah.
But I look at it like, well, it could have detracted away from my bench.
Yeah.
So
what would you aim to do that weight for how many?
The 310?
Yeah. So
Singles.
Yeah, okay.
Singles,
So you
doubles.
still only go up to single.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The heaviest double I did was like a 307 at Nationals in 2015, and I didn't get anything out of it. You know what I mean? So most of my strength is built by moving the same weight faster and faster each week.
Yeah.
So the 260s or 280s and just moving them faster, because if I can move that weight faster, then my top end stuff will be alright. It'll take care of itself. I don't need to be going, alright, let's squat 300 kilos for 4 reps. I don't give a shit. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I've got a very limited amount of time left with my knee.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to waste it mucking around in training going, I want to put up a sick video of me squatting 300 for 5 reps. I don't give a shit about that.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure on the comp day that I'm going to do alright.
Yeah.
So for me, if I keep it down low, I know good comp, I'll squat 320 plus, So 320, 330, thereabouts next year.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that you're still squatting is pretty amazing. I mean, 2 recos, 2 meniscus tears and operations, and you're pretty much back under the bar as soon as you can be both times. Like there's a lot of people, the majority of people just fucking pike it. I don't squat anymore.
Yeah.
I just leg press and leg extensions now.
Yeah. When I hear about people complaining about sore knees, I have a laugh, because it's like, man, there's guys that can't fucking walk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like legit can't walk. Or guys that have never had that opportunity to be able to squat. Who are stuck in a wheelchair or have cerebral palsy and stuff like that. And it's like you're bitching about fucking shit knees.
Casey Mitchell's got one leg and he squats.
Yeah, exactly. Like I've got an online client
Maybe
who
you should
squats.
squat. Yeah.
I've got an online client who squats, and he's only got one leg as well. You know what I mean? So if you're whinging because you got a bit of patella fucking tendonitis, it's like, get off it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Fuck that.
Yeah. And it's inevitable. Like, I know I'm going to need a knee replacement, so that's why I've got it covered on my private health insurance. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time. So while I'm in it, I may as well have fun doing it and then deal with the consequences later.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still dealing with the consequences,
Yeah, but the long-
I already know I'm coming in for a knee replacement. So it's like, well, let's do what I can do until that happens.
Until you're the bionic man.
Yeah, exactly.
Get the most out of it.
Yeah, like Robocop days. Then watch me squat hydraulic.
You've obviously got confidence in your own ability though, because I mean you're only hitting, you know, very sub-maximal weight for singles.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of guys, you know, and you're right, a lot of the time it is just to make a sick video for Instagram, but a lot of the time it's also for confidence, because you go, okay, well I hit this weight for 5, so it makes it easier to project.
Yeah.
But if you're only hitting 80% of your max or whatever it is, 85% of your max for a single, you've obviously got confidence that you can, you know, when
100%.
that weight goes on your back, it's not going to put you off. You're going to be able to do it.
Yeah, that was like 325, man. Like it had been 2015 was the last time I had 320 kilos on my back.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people would have been probably second guessing that attempt selection, but it's like, man, I don't give a shit. The crowd was big. I like crowds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I thrive on like the excitement of the event and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And channeling that nervousness and that energy and using it for something, you know?
Yeah.
I don't care about, like, I missed a 310 squat in training that I didn't put up because I was like, fuck, that was shit.
Yeah.
It was a worse squat. And then re-wrap, like, got one of the other guys to wrap my knees and hit it.
Yeah.
You know, it was a bit high, it was a bit slow, but... you know,
Got it.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
So put me in front of a crowd and I'll do all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. You like feeding off that?
Yeah, exactly.
You like the energy?
Yeah.
Sick.
What about with your, so you spoke about your obviously opener selection. What about with your bench to break that record for your third?
Yeah.
Did you pick that weight purely to break the record, or was that always a goal weight you wanted to hit? Like, why that weight? Why not 260? Why not, you know?
So I was looking at it, and so we called 252 at push-pull to take the record off Jason at 250. So Jason Semler had the record at 250 after I set it to 225. And I was like, far out, I'm never going to get that back. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, like 245 just flew up, and that's the number that I wanted in comp.
Yeah.
And that was the third. Ricky was like, you want to do a fourth? I'm like, might as well. Like, I'm here. You know, my sister had just gotten out of hospital for the second time, and her and dad were actually at the comp.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then coming into Pro Raw, I was like fairly confident because my bench hadn't dropped off. Like, I'd bench 200 for 7 as an AMRAP set, hit 180 for 10 a handful of times in that cycle as well, and I was like, I'll be good for, you know, 250 plus. And you know, there was a bit of hype and talk getting thrown around about me breaking the all-time and pushing it past 250. I think Odell had it at.
Yeah.
Or 252.
I think it was 250.
I think.
I might be wrong. I thought it was
maybe 252.
Yeah, either way.
Yeah, it was.
That's
No,
right.
it was 252. So then I was like, all right, well, I'm going to open on 237. So originally I planned to open on 240 because I was like, all right, 240, which is a little bit higher than what I would normally like to open on.
Yeah.
And then it was actually when I was watching Sebastian bench on the Saturday, and he was having a bit of trouble with his bench, and I was like, fuck, I'm going to actually drop mine back
Yeah.
on the Sunday. Because I was like, oh,
Play it safe.
Yeah, I was like, man, I don't want like to miss my bench, you know, because there's been so much talk about it and that sort of stuff. So I was like, all right, I'm going to pull it back 2.5 kilos, go 237. And lucky I did, because I had a brain fart, and I've got a couple of different styles of benching.
Right.
And the 237, I call it a park. So instead of sinking it a tiny bit, I've just like gently rested it on my chest, and then when I got the press call, locked it out, and I was like, you idiot, because normally I pull it into my sternum a tiny bit,
Yeah.
and then drive up after that.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh, you dickhead. Called 250 because the 237 moved quick, and then when that was all right, I was sitting there and starting to cool down a little bit, and my elbow was a bit sore from my third attempt on my squat because I attacked the bar a bit too hard.
Yeah.
When I went under the squat, got a bit of pins and needles in my hand. So you see on like some of the videos, like I'm coming out and like fidgeting with my hands or shaking my elbow. when I was sitting on the side waiting for my bench, like I was trying to keep my shoulder as warm as possible and my elbow as warm as possible because it was like pins and needles.
Yeah.
And then after the 250, I was like, yep, sweet. Everyone was like, take 260. I'm like, fuck no, I can't even feel my fingertips at the moment. So that's why I called 257 because I knew I could lock 257 out.
Yeah.
I wasn't 100% confident in locking 260 out on that day. So I was like, no, I'm going to take 257, be a bit safe.
Yeah.
Play it smart because 325 with a 257, that puts me back up around the top 4. Because, you know, some of the 125s, all of a sudden, they're squatting like 350 and I'm just like, see what happens when you have 2 years off? You know what I mean? I'm like, where are you? I said to one of them, Maddie, the Kiwi boy from the Gold Coast, you know, I said, bro, when did you start squatting? I was like, squatting like 350 something. I was just like, what the fuck?
We'll put can we get the videos up as well? Yeah, we'll get those pro raw videos up because even that 257.5, you're saying you probably didn't feel great at the time, but it looked pretty fucking good. It went up well.
It felt like coming off the chest, it felt good. And then there was a little bit of instability, and then the right side was just lagging just a tiny bit.
Which is the side that you had there?
Yeah, which is the side and even now, like there's a bit of an elbow issue going on, but is what it is. You know, you're a bencher and
You're going to cop it. How do you treat it?
I get 2 treatments a week, so I see Rod Williams, who's my acupuncturist. I normally see him like on a Tuesday, and Maddie Stenzel on a Thursday. Cool. I just maintain that pretty much every comp cycle, but at the moment I'm doing it now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sweet. Because Matt Moyle or something, is he?
What's it? No, remedial therapist.
Oh, remedial, sick.
And massage, yeah.
Awesome.
So he does a lot of dry needling as well. Rod's trained in Chinese acupuncture, Japanese acupuncture, all that sort of stuff as well.
So you're really taking that, or going to those great lengths to keep the body in.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, cool. Because like if all of a sudden I was to bang up my elbow to the point where I couldn't really bench, then I'm in trouble.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like I'll lose 30 to 50 kilos on the next guy, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden I'm a drop from one of the top to way down the bottom on the run, you know?
You're pretty big on like activation and mobility stuff as well, though. Like between you and Jordan, like you deal with him quite a bit to do your
particularly from the low.
I often see you doing like videos and warm up exercises and band stuff.
Do you want to explain to Jordan this? I'm sure most know. But
everyone like Jordan Shallow, you know, good looking rooster, Canadian who lives in America. All the chicks were frothing on him. The muscle dog.
Muscle dog profile.
Awesome dude. Man, we just hit it off because I was talking to him about. I think I messaged him because I was like talking to him about comp or you know trying to help me out with some stuff, and then I saw him compete at the Reebok Record Breakers I was watching online.
Yeah.
And then I was like, hang on 1 second. I wonder if Marcos would invite this guy to Australia because then I could get Jordan to come to Brisbane and then he could treat me and we could run through some stuff. So it was a total like, I played everyone perfectly to get what I wanted. I was just like, yes. I was like, hey man, would you compete in Australia? He's like, man, that'd be awesome. And I was like, Marcos, check out this dude. Emad, check out this dude. And then they're like, yeah, we'll invite him.
Yeah.
And then Jordan sends me a message, he's like, bro, thanks. Like, I was like, nah, all good, man. Sweet ass. You know what you should do? You should come to a seminar in Brisbane. So it worked out perfectly, man. He was an awesome dude.
Glad you did because I spoke to him and he helped me with my tendonitis and it's been mint. So
man, he's helping heaps of guys out, you know.
Oh, he's
awesome.
If you're not following that dude, you've got to follow that dude. And he's taking on Joe Rogan at the moment, which is
that's interesting.
That was interesting.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan. I can take him down. I want to ask you one more thing before we move on to some of your coaching stuff.
Yep.
Internal drivers for you, and I suppose at a personal level, things have been pretty tough in the last couple of weeks, and you're an incredibly resilient guy, quite obviously. How does the internal driver, or what has historically the internal driver been, and how has recent events affected that?
I don't know, like when I started powerlifting, you know, everyone was sort of like who's this dude and how can he bench this much, sort of thing. Because like I popped up with a 222 bench and no one had seen like, you know, that for a while. And then Jason came in, I think like around the same time. So it was sort of a little bit of a shock. And then, you know, Spiros used to call me Wheels because I just used to bench. I benched at the Nationals in 2013 and he's like, you need to do a 3 lift. So what's your squat? I don't know, like 250, 260. 260 was the most I've walked out. I don't like walking out for obvious reasons. 2 shit knees.
It's not worth
It's not a dick pissing competition for me. Like,
Yeah.
I'll walk out, you know, up to maybe 200, 220 now. But I don't care what people think about that because
You're not there to walk it out.
no, we don't squat walk out in comp, you know. So it's like whatever, mate. I think like one of my drives was I just want to, you know, be strong. That was it. I'd had enough bodybuilding and I just wanted to feel like get as strong as I could. You know, in terms of like probably drive now, that one's like, that's a bit hard, that one now, because like big dogs, Maddie was actually, who's my sister, she was actually going to come down for the weekend and spend it with us, so so that's probably, that'd be my biggest drive at the moment. Take your time, mate.
Do you want to cut for a second?
Yeah, that's good. No, keep it in there, you know what I mean? Like, I don't give a shit. Someone's got something to say online.
No.
It's bound to,
No
you
one's
know,
going to say anything about that, mate.
no, but you know, if anyone ever does, then
That's
I'm
your
like,
last fucking concern, don't worry.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's definitely my drive now. To make sure I perform well. And I know she'd be fair up me if I was, you know, bludging.
Yep.
So
You said that today in the gym.
yeah, 100%.
You're like, I can't be fucked doing that, but I know damn well.
Because man, like we were tight, and then we had a period where we were brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
So we argued, you know, for a bit, stopped talking, but then, you know, reconnected and started hanging out. And I started training her twice a week after her second run in hospital. You know, so I was like, I was training her twice a week.
Yeah.
So we'd spoken about it, and I was planning on actually buying her a ticket to come to Melbourne in October because she'd never been.
Yeah.
And then obviously Pro Roll 10 next year as well. So I wanted to, you know, take her out and explore stuff because, you know, she's 22. I hadn't really travelled, I hadn't travelled at all. You know, every time she booked a holiday, she got sick. So
Yeah.
that was my motivation to get her down and, you know, explore some stuff with her and,
Yeah.
you know, so.
That's a pretty good motivator, though. Like for you now, if you know, I mean, obviously it's not what you would want, but
Yeah.
if you can take anything away from it, it's a pretty nice memory to keep as a motivator. That
Yeah, 100%.
you're doing it for her.
Yeah. So, yeah.
All right. Moving on.
Let's lighten it up. Let's pick something else.
Chochi. All right. So we've already touched on how you program.
Yeah.
You do your own program, don't you?
I
Yourself,
do.
yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
Nutrition.
I did actually run for Pro Raw. I set my squat template up. I went, all right, this is what I want to do. I'm a bit unsure. I think there might be a bit too much work in there. I sent it to Eddie Cohen. It's like, cut some of the sets out. He's like, you know, your knee's shit. We know this. Make sure it doesn't blow up. So how are we going to do that? Well, let's just reduce your sets. So it's a strategy I've adopted now, and also give my clients the choice of as well, to go, all right, for the first 6 weeks of your prep, we're either going to do 2 or 3 top sets. Okay, I don't see any point in having someone squatting for over an hour, you know, 70 to 80%. I don't see any benefit to it whatsoever. I think it increases your chance of injury, burnout, fatigue. You know, I want my guys getting through a prep healthy. So give them 2-3 top sets. You pick. First 2 sets are awesome. Do a third. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If your first and second is shit, keep it there. Move on.
Yep.
We want to win. You know.
Fuck yeah.
Like you don't want to be getting towards the tail end of your prep and being that emotionally burnt out because you've been squatting for hours and hours in the gym. And then for the final 6 weeks, I cut it back to 1 to 2 top sets. So then it becomes more about the execution because I look at it like, all right, if I've got a lifter, let's have a 12-month plan. So 6 months, we're building work. I'm making them do shit they don't want to do. 8s, 10s, 6s, 5s. You know,
100 reps on the leg press.
If you, yeah, but if you annoy me, then you got sets of 20 when you're squatting. You know, so I think 20. You know, and everyone's like, oh, it's a new concept, and that's what it's not really like. I mean, back when I was bodybuilding, I was doing max rep sets and squatting and stuff like that. You know, 16, 17, 20 rep sets. You know, basically max effort. Yep. So I think it builds a lot of character with a lot of lifters because, you know, some of them don't know how to fight for a win. You know, they don't know how to fight for a rep, and they'll bitch you out on it. You know, they'll stop halfway up. And it's like, you could have got that if you had to, you know, ground it out. So for those guys, 20s, and you're going to deal with it.
Yeah.
Because I want to see some fight. I want to see some hunger.
Yeah.
I want to see some hate come out as well. You know. Then we tone it back because you can't do that forever.
Yeah.
Because that intensity will destroy people as well. So we cut it back and we go 10s, 8s, 6s, 5s, 3s. You know, change it around.
Yeah.
Cool. Nutrition. Now, I know you do some nutrition programming as well.
Yeah.
And as everyone will see from some photos, you've got a good track record of getting pretty peeled. There's some modelling shoots that might have done the rounds a couple of months back as well. We're escaping that.
Before we go to nutrition, let's talk about that calendar, shall we?
All right, which calendar you want to talk about? You want to talk about the book that I did, or the calendar?
You just put yourself in the shit. We didn't know about
I didn't know about a book. I want it.
I actually had a client go, hey, can you sign my book? And I was like, sure. It was good pay, you know.
So what was the book?
It was just it was a picture book, you know, like black and white sort of semi-nude sort of stuff, you know. I don't care. That's when I was bodybuilding. I was shredded.
What was it for though? Like
shits and giggles.
So the whole book was just pictures.
No. So the book was it was a photographer at the time wanted to, you know, make a picture book about you know, some fictional Bayside town, and you know, it was a total dudes book for dudes basically. You know.
Cool.
So I don't really care.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's like, oh, doesn't it make you feel uncomfortable? I'm like, fuck no. Free love. You know what I mean? Like, you do whatever you want to do.
Fuck,
Like, I just wanted to do a bit of modelling at the time, you know?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, fair enough.
I had to throw that in there to stitch you up.
Don't worry, Susie's probably going to post the photos up in a couple of weeks. That'd be great.
Hey. This bloke gives me that much shit on social media. This was my perfect chance.
Where can people get the book?
I actually don't know, but I think it's called The Boys of Harrison Harbour or Harrison Harbour or something like that.
Right.
Then there was a calendar in 2012. Noah was the cover. And then there was a couple of underwear marketing campaigns and shit like that for like Spanish brands and stuff. And I was just like, whatever, it's good money.
Yeah.
Bloody hell,
Why not?
Don't care.
Yeah. So back to
So if you want your book signed,
I'll sign it.
send it
I
back.
put a bit of lippy on.
You do a lot of nutritional programming for people too as well, and bodybuilders as well as powerlifters, right?
Yep, correct.
What's your approach to that? And in general, I suppose, what's your approach to nutrition? Because you keep in pretty good shape in condition all year round. So how do you approach it?
So I did a bit of nutrition stuff through the ISSN. So I find their recommendations really good. I think I ended up getting certified through the ISSN as a sports nutritionist. So you couldn't fail a single question on the exam. So I don't know how I got through, because that would have been like the first exam in my entire life that I've got 100 out of 100. You know? Even my law exams, I was just like, oh, far out, how am I going to answer this question? But yeah, I approach it pretty, like, really simple, you know. I don't overcomplicate it. I don't do recipes for people. I just give them the particular foods, or here's your meat, here's your carbohydrate content, this is what you've got to do. It's fairly specific for each individual in terms of what their actual goals are. You know, if someone's looking to drop a bit of body fat, I like to feed them more than what they initially need. We've spoken about this online as well. So, 50% of the diet's going to come from protein, 20% from carbs, 30% fats.
Yeah.
In terms of power lifters, I like to put their carbohydrates up around 50%, particularly if they're in a high volume phase. 30% fats to help with hormonal function, 20% protein. If they're looking to drop a bit of weight, we just pull the carbs, increase the protein a little bit, drop the fats a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Cool. So I specify what sort of food, the quantity of food that you should be eating. So let
them make it up their own way.
Yeah, 100%. I'm not a cook. What I find tasty, sometimes it might not. So it's like, all right, you're going to eat 600 grams of meat for the day. You're going to have 200 grams of rice, 4 rice cakes, 300 grams of oats or something like that.
Yeah, cool.
Just depends on the individual and what they're trying to do.
Yep. Awesome. You've spoken a fair bit today, actually, even earlier in the gym, about the fact that you like to specialise, for each client, like cookie cutter staff or what have you. So, as far as your coaching goes, how many clients have you got on the books at the moment?
I'm doing anywhere from 30 to 40 sessions a week, and they're hours to hour and a half, and then online clients. I'm not too sure, but I'm probably going to put a hold on it soon. We spoke about that earlier because I don't want any quality to drop off.
Yep.
So that's my big thing. Like when I was working at another gym in the Valley, I was doing 50 sessions a week. Wasn't doing too much online stuff, but I just found that I got burnt out real quick, and quality dropped off, and priorities shifted away from showing people love to just being going through the motions. And that's one thing that, as a coach or a trainer, I don't ever want to get back to. And I want to keep those relationships traveling in the right direction and beneficial to everyone. Because imagine if you're rocking up to a session and your coach is playing on their fucking phone. You know what I mean? You're paying anywhere from $80 to $100 an hour, and they're just going sick. You know what I mean? So
just go do this.
It's written on the board. Go for it, sort of stuff.
So definitely don't like that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Did that answer the question?
That's it. It did. Yes. 100%.
Tick.
2 now. Bit of fun. Frustrations with the industry. We talk about this stuff a lot.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of myths. There's a lot of shit. It's time to unleash. Frustrations.
Stitch up. You're going to get in trouble now.
No.
We don't need to do a lot to get you in trouble.
The state of the industry, the future of the industry, fitness in general. I'm not talking specific to powerlifting either. I'm not asking you to have a crack at anyone or whatever.
Obviously, the programming is one. Cookie cutter programs as well.
100%.
Yeah.
State of it. Give me specific.
I was going to say, let's go more specific.
Go a little bit specific so I can.
Let's start with powerlifting.
All right.
How about competitions? Is there anything in competitions that pisses you off? Maybe federations, maybe, I don't know.
No, the federations and that sort of stuff, that doesn't bother me. I think it's pretty immature to federation bash and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's not something I really care about. Is there anything that annoys me at competitions? Pick a competition, you know what I mean? I don't see it necessary to have 100 people hanging off you and that sort of stuff. But if it helps that competitor keep their head in the game, then so be it. It doesn't really bother me at the end of the day because I'll just plug my headphones in, talk to the guys that I want to talk to, and just focus on what we're there to do.
Very cool.
Well, let's come at it from a different angle.
Yeah.
What do you want to see happen? What do you want to see change? Like, is there anything? I don't know. Let's say Pro Raw's a good one.
Yeah.
Pro Raw's a pretty well run comp. There's nothing really that happens at a Pro Raw that you would be like, oh, I hate that. You know, like they're usually pretty good comps.
Professionally run.
Is there something that you would like to see? Like something you'd like to see implemented, something you would like to see come out of it? Like,
There's I spoke to Marcos and he emailed a little bit about it, and you know, obviously, like with the big dogs and the Pro Raw powerlifting events, what I would like to see is, you know, some of the lifters getting sort of going on tours and stuff like that, and you know, doing like a sort of little circuit around seminars and that sort of stuff. We spoke about that, Marcos and myself, because he was like, "What do you think?" And I was like, "Well, you know, bodybuilding does this well, so why don't we try it with, you know, powerlifters?"
yeah.
In terms of like live streams and that sort of stuff, I think it's very important to engage, you know, regular people as well who, you know, make it exciting.
Yeah.
You know, like at Pro Raw, you couldn't really tell what was going on. There was just a whole heap of people standing around, like yelling and cheering, and the music was, you know, cranking.
Yeah. The seating and the spectator side of it is definitely something that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, 100%. I think, you know, I think Arnold's needs to give Pro Raw more space.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think it needs to move from its location, because I think when if it was to shift to like the auditorium, like the bodybuilding, no one's going to give a rat's ass about it. Who's going to
traffic is what drove that comp.
100%. You know, who's going to go into the auditorium and watch a separate event? As soon as you start doing that, you're taking our sport away from what we're trying to do, which is to grow it. So
exactly.
I think what they did at the Strongman, I wasn't there last year, but I did a deadlift comp in 2014, and they had like stadium seating. You know, because that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think the lifters need to be elevated. I think the crowd needs to be elevated to make it more of a stadium. I think that's cool. Live stream sort of stuff, I think there needs to be a little bit more time spent interviewing the lifters and having some sort of snippets and that sort of stuff. Yeah. Create some personalities within the sport.
That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, there's plenty, like, think of like football, for example. You know, you're going to have your favourite players, and then you're going to have some players you'd love to smack in the mouth.
Kids rock up with their favourite player's number on the back.
Yeah, 100%. You know, so that'd be a cool thing for powerlifting as well, because there's some guys that, you know, that deserve it, and then there's some guys that are total flogs. Yeah. You know,
we put that
who have probably a following that they shouldn't have, because you know, everyone knows they're a flog. But
anyone in particular?
No names.
Okay. Had to try.
It was trying. I've got to remain professional and diplomatic because I have an online presence to maintain.
We put the question to Critter yesterday.
Yeah.
Do you ever think powerlifting will become a profession?
No.
Why?
Because of the elephant in the room.
Drugs?
Yep. Straight up. So, I think, you know.
But you say that, yet bodybuilding's a profession.
But it's not really though. You know what I mean? Like they do have pro athletes.
Yeah.
But these guys aren't true professionals, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm probably going to cop a bit of slack about that from fucking bodybuilders, but guess what? I don't give a shit, because you guys are wankers anyway. Stand up on stage in your little posing trunks and fake tan. Been there, done that. I can throw stones because I did it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like in Australia, guys that want to become pro bodybuilders, you know, we've got maybe a couple guys that have the genetics to be able to mix it with the best in the world.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're looking at, all right, how much do they award at Arnold Australia? 10 grand, 15 grand, something like that. Olympia's maybe 250 grand.
Yeah.
You know? These guys are running cycles and the food and living and stuff like that. That's not going to cover it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd love to powerlifting to be a professional sport, but I don't think it's...
Isn't the Olympia $1 million?
Total price pool. Total price pool.
Is it?
I think top male.
If we're going to compare, you have to compare at the top level.
Yeah. So
obviously amateur stuff in Australia is not going to be the benchmark of where you're going to make a comparison for bodybuilding.
No.
Just to play devil's advocate for a sec.
Yep.
So you would have to go to the Olympia. That's the peak.
Which would be, I think the top male gets maybe 250 grand, maybe a car, something like that.
Right.
What I heard getting thrown around was like, and I think it's a good idea if like these pro raw battles and stuff like that, but you take it and dump it in other countries as well.
Yeah.
So essentially, the pro raw powerlifting becomes a feature at every Arnold. So it becomes a pro circuit.
Do you think that legitimizes it a little bit though? Because it kind of makes it like a traveling circus. It's almost a sideshow, especially if it's just a head-to-head battle.
Yeah. Well, maybe not like the head-to-head battles, but like running a
Something.
like a pro raw.
Yeah.
Like same as like the Olympia. You know, was it the top 10 or top 20 bodybuilders? I can't remember because I haven't followed it for that long. But I think the top 10 might get paid. You know what I mean?
Right.
So if you were to take a pro raw, if you were to do it in Australia, and then 3 months down the track it's in Columbus, or 3 months after that, that would probably be all right. But you're talking about trying to improve upon totals.
Doesn't work that way.
Every 3 months, and it's like, man, when you're lifting at the top and you're trying to push it, that
you have
far.
to have a rotating roster of lifters.
Yeah, or maybe like
this
an
group
event
goes
or
this,
something like that. Yeah.
This group goes then. Yeah.
But I think that's where it might fall down a bit.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to, you take a group of, say, Big Dogs has 15 of the best.
Yeah.
And you take them every 3 months, someone's going to get banged up pretty bad, because
for
these
sure,
weights aren't normal
that's
weights.
right.
You got guys that will be squatting
500.
350 to nearly 500 kilos, trying to bench more than me. Not many of them will be able to. Nearly 400 or over 400 kilos as well.
Yeah.
So, man, the amount of strain that would put on your body.
Yeah, of course. Well, they're just not going to do it. It's
No, exactly. But think about it.
Sign up for comps every 3 months.
Nah, and think about Milenichev. Like, he won last year.
Yeah.
Has he competed since?
I don't think he has.
I don't think he has. Just doing the.
You reckon 20
seminars.
grand's enough to live on?
No, of course it's not.
Yeah.
So.
They've all got side jobs.
Yeah,
They've got
exactly.
side jobs.
So that's how I look at it. I'm like, it would be a good little hobby.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to be just because of the nature of our sport, which is
Yeah.
trying to lift as much weight as possible.
I agree. Yeah.
Yep,
So
cool.
that's what I think.
Do you think it's really a spectator sport though? Like all that aside, obviously, I mean, if that's all stuff that you have to take into account.
Yeah,
You
yep.
can't obviously perform repeatedly like that. But even if you could, hypothetically, do you think it's the kind of sport that will draw spectators?
Local competitions, not really.
Just in general though?
Again, probably if some of the personalities are well known.
Yeah, okay.
Or the sport starts having some personalities that pop up.
Do you think it's dynamic enough though? Like my comparison would be, say, Strongman, World's Strongest Man. As a TV event, it makes sense because there's a dynamic element to it where it becomes a race as well, like if it's a carry for distance or something.
Yeah,
it becomes a
100%.
race.
Yeah.
Whereas because it's a static lift, you're almost sitting there. I mean, I watch the IPF feed.
Yeah.
And you kind of see there going, okay, yeah, cool.
It's
next lift. Okay, you got the lift. That's good. Like there's no engagement.
No, it's boring, and
And
that's
the commentator was fucked. Like, Jesus Christ.
It's
Fucking wanted to shoot myself.
my straight up opinion is, like, as a spectator, powerlifting is boring to watch.
Yeah.
And we know that.
Yeah. Unless you love it.
Unless you're like
And you're
really,
there.
really, really into it. And
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or you really like the person, which, as you say, comes down to the personality.
I think
you cheer for
The
someone.
personality thing's a good one.
Yeah.
I think, man, like pro raw, big dogs, stuff like that, you've got, say, 10, 20 top tier lifters.
Yeah.
I think if you were to try and, build it into an entertainment show or something like that, then you need to do that background of, let's interview it, let's get these boys actually get stuck into each other a tiny bit, heckling, you know what I mean, stirring the pot a tiny bit, because...
Problem there, though, which is another elephant in the room,
Yeah.
is that most of them are dumb as fuck and don't have, like, I'm just being honest, there's not a whole lot of personalities getting around.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure majority of them wouldn't be able to spell their name properly.
Yeah.
You know what? I like this theory. Not spelling a name thing, but the personality thing. We've got the world's biggest sporting event this year is a boxing match between a guy that's a big mouth and another guy that's a big mouth, and one's universally loved, one's universally hated. Now, Floyd Mayweather, I'm a big Floyd fan, have been for years.
Yep.
He has made hundreds of millions of dollars from one thing. People hating him and people wanting to see him get knocked out. And how many people of those that paid the 60 and they're now up to 100 and 120 for a pay-per-view for one of these fights actually give a fuck about boxing the other 364 days of the year?
Yeah.
They probably don't. They just want to see this big mouth get. So personality, that's a good one.
There's another motherfucker that can't spell his name. Yeah, he's worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
Or read.
Reed.
So he's probably not really worth $100 million anymore because someone's probably fleeced it. Floyd, it's better to have 2 zeros next to the chest. I'll take the 6 zeros. You have the 2 zeros.
I'm helping.
Sounds good, bro.
No,
Yeah.
With all this, this is a great segue because with all this personality and I suppose sledging topic in
I know where you're going.
a few weeks ago we had a very esteemed guest named Pat Morrison who
I dropped my deadlift, Morrison.
called you out in a big way and said that he's going to whoop you at a push-pull later this year in, when's the push-pull?
December 3rd.
Yep. What do you have to say?
I think he won last year's by like 7 points or something like that. So I don't think my fourth bench would have been the difference in it. I think maybe if I took a higher bench, it may have been the difference in it. Or if I had to come in a little bit lighter, maybe. We'll just see how Pat pulls up at the end of the year. He might not do it. He might bitch you out. I don't know, but because he's got a fair bit on this year. He's got nationals. He's got head to head. If he doesn't get hurt at nationals.
Yeah.
But then I'm pretty sure from memory last year he dropped 2 deadlifts at the push pull as well because he's got soft hands.
See his 360 pull this week?
Yeah, I saw that, but that's in training. You know what I mean? Like max out on comp day,
Yeah.
not in training, Pat.
We reckon you have to bench 300 to beat him because he'll pull whatever needs to be pulled to beat you.
No, he won't. Because he'll do dumb shit in training.
It's on.
He's got nurse hands as well, so he's more prone to tearing with his sanitizers and shit.
Do you have anyone that you want to plug? Actually, you know what? We haven't plugged your business either. You've got the hoodie on. Eastside Barbell, so
yeah, after I've just said to everyone I'm not taking on too
attention to it anyway. So all your coaching's done out of Valhalla Strength.
Yep, correct.
At the moment.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And Eastside is your thing.
Yeah. Cool.
Can we talk future plans?
Oh yeah, why not?
Yeah?
Yeah, sure.
You happy to do that?
Yeah.
So you're looking at locations?
Yeah,
For your own
you know,
place?
it's obviously like a goal of mine because I look at it like this, right? If you're a trainer and you don't have any goal to open up your own place, you're gonna be burnt out, deep 5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's
Like-
logical for anything.
Yeah,
In
anyone with-
business, you want to...
100%.
If you're a carpenter, you want to work for yourself. You
Yeah.
want to be the apprentice forever.
Yeah, everyone with half a brain wants their own gig, and yeah, it'd be tough and that sort of stuff. But you know, I've got a good fiance that helps me out a lot with keeping me on track. You know, we got a pretty tight family, so yeah, like my plan is obviously, you know, next 6 to 12 months have my own joint.
Yeah.
You know, closer to home, so I don't have to spend a gazillion dollars a year on tolls
Yeah.
because I just did my MYOB for the year and I'm not happy with fucking tolls and fucking fuel. I think I spent about $3.5 on tolls this year.
Fucking hell.
So that's definitely a cost that I would like in my back pocket instead of, you
Yeah.
know, go Vise.
Yeah.
So I've got a pretty good network of like doctors that I see and talk to, and I've always somehow, you know, been able to train doctors, and most of my family are doctors or nurses. So I've got a few contacts there that are genuinely interested in male and female health. So That's an option that I'm exploring in terms of hormone replacement therapy when we eventually open up our own place, you know. So,
Cool.
And that's solely to expand the market, you know, like, because powerlifting is one small section of the fitness industry, and it's like really, really tiny. And I don't particularly want to, like, I love powerlifting,
Yeah.
but
As a businessman, you've got to look outside of
yeah,
it.
100%. You know, so you're missing so much more if you're just concentrating on one area.
Yeah.
So I'd like to open it up to a bit more
Yeah.
people. You know, older guys, older women.
Yeah.
Like, I train both of those populations anyway. So
Yeah. So would the plan be to have other coaches working from there?
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
You know, you'd be silly not to.
Yeah.
You know, if you're you know, doing 40 sessions a week and trying to run a gym, I think that would be a little bit difficult. So
Yes, of course. Are you looking at potentially having treatment facilities there, like having guys like, say, Matt Stenzel come down and treat people from there, or?
possibly, like, it's ideas that have like bounced off people over the years.
Yeah.
But
Initially, you just want to.
initially it would be just like a gym
Yeah.
where I can train people, where I can get another couple of trainers in, have a doctor to come in once a week and talk to people,
Yeah.
general health screening, hormone profiling, all that sort of good gear. So the doctor's pretty keen on it. It's just, you know, when we feel
When
like
it
it
happens.
Yeah, cool.
So that's definitely like what I want to do. I've been thinking about it for years, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like 6 years I've been thinking about it.
Yeah.
Previous background before I got into strength and conditioning coaching was project management. So business feasibility studies, project feasibility studies, and going, all right, is this venture actually going to work?
Right.
So I used to program very pessimistically. So
Yeah.
I'm not optimistic when it comes to programming for business success.
Yeah.
Very pessimistic in terms of growth rates and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So it stacks up even when approaching it like that. So I'm like, it's doable. It'll just
Yeah.
be, you know, deciding what we want to do as a couple first, Courtney and myself, to go, do we want a house first or do we want to open our own gym?
Yeah.
You know, so there's a bit of a tussle going on at the moment
Yeah, cool.
with that.
Yeah.
Watch this space. Keep you posted.
Yeah.
Advice for novice and other lifters. Any pearls of wisdom, like things that you think we've touched on a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Like, I wish I had had a coach like back when I first started. That would be my biggest thing to tell, like, to anyone, you know, get yourself a coach. That, like, even if when I was playing Colts football, I'd love to be able to send me back in time and go, mate, just run the ball straight, don't sidestep. You know what I mean? But to have someone guiding you and telling you to hold back a tiny bit when you don't need to open it up as much,
Yeah.
you know, and then obviously he's telling you when to open it up when you need to open it up. So
Yeah.
that's what I reckon for novice guys.
So mainly injury prevention stuff.
Yeah, injury prevention stuff and just being a little bit more sensible with your training, because I was always big on trashing myself and you know, training as hard and as stupidly as possible.
Yeah.
And that doesn't get you anywhere in the long run.
Yeah.
Except for broken.
Yeah.
Do you think that was that at in the bodybuilding days, as far as just get volume
Just
in?
in general.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Volume.
Yeah,
All
100%.
heart, no brains.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So when you came into powerlifting,
Yeah.
you were sort of taking a similar approach. You were just like, oh, fucking.
Yeah, I was working. Like I was,
squat.
yeah, like I was working, and everyone's like, "Bro, you need to slow down a bit."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
And then got a little bit too slow, and now I'm sort of found that comfortable spot where I'm like, "All right, this is what I want to do. And this is how I'm going to do it."
Yeah.
So I know this section of bodybuilding works, this section of powerlifting works, and if we can mash it together, then we're going to be strong and look good at the same time.
Yeah.
So you take the nutrition aspects from the bodybuilding, throw that on top of the powerlifter, man, they're going to perform way better.
Yeah.
I've got guys that are sending me messages going, man, I feel awesome. You know what I mean? Recovery's awesome. Because traditionally, powerlifters eat shit.
Yeah.
You know? You would have seen it.
Yeah, of course.
So,
All right, one last one from me. End goal. The end goal. We know about your knee. All right,
Yep.
forget that.
Yep.
Is there a particular number? Is there a particular end goal? Are you looking? Is there a time frame? What is it?
when I first started benching, it was like, all right, I want to bench 240 kilos because I think at the time it was the GPC bench press world record. And that was always a goal. I still haven't actually ticked that off because that is in a 3 lift meet.
Okay.
So if I survive my Pro Raw 10 prep, then I'll do maybe a little qualifier or something like that, squat and sleeves, go to nationals next year and finish up in nationals. And then hang up the boots, so to say, because I'll be 32 next year, and with Macy just starting to walk, who's my daughter, I want to be able to have a bit of fun with her. Yeah. So, and I've had a pretty good run, I reckon. I'm not going to squat, 350, 360 kilos. I hold, that's a dream, you know what I mean? I'm aware of what I can physically do.
Yeah.
I could probably squat 340 if I wanted to push it. Yeah. But at Pro Raw 10, I'll be sort of working towards 335-ish, and whatever I bench in October and December, I have to carry that through to Pro Raw and then maybe pull 335, 340. Yeah. So I don't really care about pushing it up and thinking, oh, I'll pull 350, or I'll squat 350. I don't care. You know what I mean? I want to go, all right, this is realistic. Yeah. And let's aim for that.
Yeah.
I know there's probably another 10, 15 kilos in my total. So
already.
Yeah, already.
Yeah.
Even after the 3rd knee surgery. So it feels like my knees feel better than what they did this time last year. So I know there's about another 15 if everything keeps tracking nicely.
Cool. So very good.
But yeah, I'll probably retire next year.
Yeah.
Because Courtney and my knee surgeon are like, you need to stop soon.
Yeah. So what will you do? Because you're obviously a competitive dude.
Yeah.
So what do you turn your hand to?
Chess.
I'm
a fucking demon.
Like that.
Chess. Boom, 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 boom. Done.
I'm the first dude to take down that fucking robot. I
suck at chess.
I was like,
is he taking this? What? Is he actually good at chess?
So yeah. I don't know, actually.
So seriously, you don't know?
No, but I know I've got to stop soon.
Yeah.
So, because it's just too much trauma on my body. You know what I mean?
You wouldn't just go bench only?
A lot of people have said that I should or want me to, but it's just, we'll see what happens. Everything's pretty much sort of, I'm not committing 100% to anything at this stage because I'm just taking the same approach I took last year, which was if I survive my prep, I'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So same sort of approach into Pro Raw 10 will be if I survive the prep, I'll compete.
Yeah.
I'll do big dogs bench only because it's benching, and I don't foresee any sort of shoulder injury or elbow injury or pec injury that will slow that down. Yeah. Obviously, it's not a given that won't happen, but I don't see anything happening in that regard. But if I survive the prep for Pro Raw 10, I'll do Pro Raw 10. Yeah. But you said earlier that if there was anyone I wanted to plug as well, I sort of do. So I just want to shout out to Concrete Nutrition for hooking us up with a heap of subs as well, and then also Titan Support System. So I ended up hooking up with Titan after I gave Mark Ross a spray on mine about soft suits and single ply and double ply crotches and stuff like that.
Is it because of their colour range that you like Titan?
Yeah,
they're
bold. They're bold. I like colours.
that purple.
Yeah,
we're getting that purple going.
Man, everyone liked it. You know what I mean? Like everyone's rocking out, being all hard and black and stuff, and man, like some of these guys are fucking like accountants or security guards. It's like, man, you don't be trying to be tough backstage in your black soft suits and shit. Like,
it's just the model.
I'll wear whatever I want to wear.
It's the Gate magazine model. And you come
no, I just like blue and purple. I think that's a nice colour combination.
Suited your eyes. It's good.
If anyone finds good soft suits online or a bit left of centre, can you let us know?
I have an epic one.
There's some in the US. If you follow wrestling, you could get some pretty cool shit.
Yeah.
The problem is they're a bit long. the wrestling soft suits go past
Yeah.
the knees, the singlets.
Was it the big show that wore the
have to cut 'em
single
back.
shoulder one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it was a
Andre
big show.
Giant?
Yeah, the
One of
giant.
those, right?
You get some like superhero shit.
Nah, our rules say that you've got to have two.
Oh, they do actually say that. Okay.
Yeah.
That's probably something I will do when I do retire, which will be,
Make soft suits.
No, not make soft suits.
Be Andre the Giant.
John Cena's body double.
Yeah.
No, this is just like, give back to the sport, and just help push it to wherever it's going to end up going, referee, keep coaching, all that sort of stuff. I love training people, so I'll keep doing that. But back to the soft suit though, I have a very special one coming for big dogs.
Is it a Titan one?
It is, of course it's a Titan one.
Of course. Is it specially made or is it something that they actually sell?
Bit of A, bit of B.
Maybe.
Interesting.
The Josh Tait model, all right.
So you brought up the reffing there.
Yep.
You did the reffing for big dogs last year.
Yeah.
Are you going to do that again? I know you're doing the bench only, but because I know originally you put your hand up to do it again.
Yep.
Big dogs too.
Yep.
Are you going to do it? Is that something that
Yeah, I
you
think
can potentially do both?
Last discussions with Marcos, I think I'll be sitting out for the squats, which will probably help a lot of the lifters because a lot of them squat high.
Yeah.
You got Zahir, who's a fucking notoriously high squatter. If he doesn't bomb, I haven't seen Eric's squats lately. Who else squats high? Gwaine squats high, real high.
I think that gigantic head would weigh him down.
Well, see, I think is he a relative of that Castleberry dude? The guy that
Yeah, I think he is. I think he actually
that
is.
has the hollow plates.
Yeah.
Cousins.
Because I'm like looking at Gwayne's videos and I'm like, man, that doesn't look right. Like, that's moving way too fast. They've got to be fake plates.
Yeah. Well, we can confirm because we load for him a lot of the time. It was fake bloods. It was fake blood coming out of his shit. Like, this one with a fucking hard stage.
Stitch up. But no, I don't think I'll be refereeing the squats. Then I think I'll be doing the bench only component with a few of the top American dudes. I'm really looking forward to meeting a few of those because, man, those guys have some epic benches and they're close grip bench presses by traditional standards like myself, which is good to see someone like James Strickland, who's unracking 280 kilos by himself in a commercial gym.
Incredible.
Fucking crazy.
Like the bar's just about bent around him.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that guy. Is he coming out of nowhere or what? That was nuts.
He's actually, from what I've heard, a pretty smart dude. I think he works in IT.
Okay.
So, which is surprising for an IT guy, and then for a powerlifter to actually have a good job and be intelligent as well. So, too surprising there.
Double threat.
But I might just hide one of his wrist wraps so he can fucking.
Is there who else is doing the bench only from Australia? Do you know?
Jason Semler.
Yeah.
He's coming.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Jason's coming down.
Sweet.
Haven't seen much of his training videos lately. Like I like Jace. Jace is cool.
Yeah.
He's probably not posting any videos because he's probably on his 90th Facebook ban. Because he's a troll as well. So shit stirs everyone up. What other show? That's Sam. What's his name? McCormack.
Sam McCormack
Yeah,
from Melbourne, yeah.
Yeah, he's a big kid.
Yeah.
He's only a young fella, Sam, isn't he?
Yeah, he's only a young fella. So I saw him bench 250 in training or something like that. But like Pro Raw,
Before Pro Raw.
yeah, but Pro Raw he didn't really
Didn't have a good day out of
No,
Pro
didn't
Raw.
have a good day. So I was a bit surprised by that.
Might have been because G nearly knocked him out with the face slap psych up.
Oh really?
That didn't help.
Well, that's a bit silly.
Yeah.
Like,
Put one on his chin that was a little stiff.
yeah,
Classic Dwayne. Always fucking everything.
that's overdo everything, eh? He's such a dick. Shittest bloke, eh?
Now that would be good to see him. He's already very strong and he's a young
Yeah,
guy,
young guy. I think when he nails, he's like feels confident in his technique and that sort of stuff. I mean, there's no reason why he can't bench 600 pounds and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
it's a few years ago, saying Australia had like a couple of 600-pound benches, it'd be like, man, you're off your head.
Yeah.
Now everyone's sort of just pushing that envelope just a little bit more.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any other Aussies doing it. Sam, Jace, myself. I think most of them then are the American dudes.
Yeah.
That Leroy the Machine.
Yeah. Not that you'd ever want to bet against yourself, obviously, but who do you reckon would take out the bench? Some pretty insane shit coming from the US.
Well, if we have a look at it, right, so in terms of training videos, comp lifts, that sort of stuff, we know Jace has a 285 or 285.1 or something like that.
Yeah.
Leroy's been done recently in a couple of comps and only hit 275. He's missed a couple of openers or seconds and stuff like that and hit his third. So I think we've seen James bench 280 in training. He hit something big in comp. I want to see, I've just had a brain blank. What's the other American dude? Another 120 guy. I was stirring him up on Facebook a bit.
Because you were.
Had a pec tear.
Oh, okay. Not sure. Go on.
Oh man, creep it. Yeah,
It's going to do my head in.
What sort of number do you reckon is going to win it? No matter who it's attached to, what kind of... Do you reckon anyone's going to break 300?
Nah, because see, here's the thing, right? And this is what I think about these bench only guys as well. So I think their jumps are way too close. I think they open higher and have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So, you know, like opening on like a 270 or a 275 or something like that, you know. Like when your top end stuff's 290, I think it's a bit too close.
Yeah.
You always want to bank one, so get your first one in nice and fast. But having a look at some of the Americans' attempts on the bench only, like, I just look at it and I'm like, that's a lot of weight to be really, really close together. Like, I don't know why they do it. Maybe it's what you do when it starts getting up around that 270 plus mark. I don't know.
Do you think it's maybe because you're looking at that from a 3-lift perspective, though?
Yeah.
If it's a 3-lift, you want to get a good one. You want to get a bench in,
Yeah.
so you can roll onto your deads. If it's bench only, do you just go balls to the wall and
hope that you get one?
Don't even go for an opener, just max it out.
Well, no, because like, you know what I mean? Like even if like there's still a dollar value on the line here, so you still have to be a bit smart about it. You know, like say we do go say 270, like I'll be opening my bench on 237 still.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
237, then jump it.
Yeah.
Then take 270 as the last.
Yeah.
So, or start on 240, you know.
Yeah.
So I bank one, you know, because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Some of these American dudes could come over and be like, you know, balls out and miss their opener, miss their second, because I think they've got, you know, some of them are going to have different rule sets and that sort of stuff.
Of course. Yeah.
We're going to have travel
You see
20
that a lot.
hours and shit can happen.
Yeah.
I think Jace is going to be in with a real good shot. You know, he's solid, but you know, if he can keep his mouth shut when he's pressing, keep that air in, stay tight, man, like his bench should be moving. But like we have a look at who's progressing and that sort of stuff. Like it hasn't really gone anywhere in, you know, a year or two.
Yeah.
You know, he's had injuries as well. Sam, his last outing, he wasn't that crash hot. You know, some of the American dudes, same sort of deal. Leroy hit 1 out of 3. You know, I think it was like a 270 or 275.
Yeah.
You know, a weight that Jace does as an opener.
Completely,
You know what I mean? So it's, I don't like making predictions. You know,
Yeah.
like obviously predictions are going to help stir up the pot a tiny bit.
Yeah.
But I don't really know too many other dudes that are doing it. You know, so.
Yeah.
Well, I've asked everything that I wanted. Have you got anything else?
No, I'm cool.
It's just about time for us to shower up, get ready, and then hit the town.
Yeah.
Josh is going to escort us out tonight, so
I'm gonna go home, check on my daughter, make sure she's alright.
Change the email address on your Uber account. Trying to
He'll
repeat
probably pick me up. What time are you coming home? We'll see what happens.
mate, I want to say with the utmost sincerity, thank you so much for
Yeah.
doing today.
Thanks,
both
man.
Yeah.
training us, doing the video, doing this podcast. It's been an incredibly difficult couple of weeks for you,
Yeah.
in particular the middle of this week. Mate, you're still committed to it, and really, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks,
I just want to say also, like you and I talk a fair bit when mates outside of this, and before we ever did our first episode of this, I was talking to you about the fact that we were going to do it and all that. This has been one of the main one that I've been looking forward to. So it's finally come around. It's been awesome to actually get it done, and we'll have to do it again at some point.
Yeah, it's a nice shiny new gym for him.
Absolutely, we'll come back up when the gym's open and do it all again.
Yeah.
So it's been fun.
I'll probably be down before that happens, but
well, you will be because you'll be down in October for sure.
Yeah, true.
So,
yeah, definitely. Maybe we do another one around October once I remember.
Sounds good. Come to Melbourne.
Who
who
I'm benching against. And
we might even get Pat Morrison because he'll be in town and you guys can just
Who's he? He's going 1v1 against Scotty Murdoch. Hey?
Yes, indeed. Yeah, so that might be a go. Actually, Pat, we'll send you a message. We might do a podcast with.
Yeah, I really like Pat. Like, he's good to stir up as well.
Dude.
You know what I mean? So we talk a fair bit online anyway.
Yeah, I know you guys are mates.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
I don't want to hold that.
Awesome.
All right, boys.